Sledge as an operator in Rainbow Six Siege has kind of fallen out of popularity recently due to many nerfs and other operators that do a similar job but a little bit better maybe. However, in the right hand, Sledge can be a really strong operator. So in this video today, I'm going to give you some tips for how you can play Sledge better. And also, Sledge is one of the operators that I'll recommend to beginner players who don't fully understand the game yet and want to try and learn how to play the game and want to try and learn the maps. Because of the sledgehammer, you can do loads of stuff for like learning maps and create loads of weird and strange angles to understand how the maps flow and work. This video is going to range from beginner to more advanced tips later on in the video, so hopefully there should be something in here for all kind of skill levels that want to play the game. Also, make sure you stick around till the end because I'm going to show you how to do a mechanic that was removed from the game a little while ago, but it's still possible and will get you some free eliminations for nothing. So make sure you stick around for that later on in the video. Alright, so with Sledge, the first thing that I'm going to need to talk about is the loadout. So, Sledge is a 1-speed, 3-armor operator, which means he's more of like a slow, tanky kind of operator. Some playstyles this might not be suited for. Like, if you're a more of aggressive player, you might not want to play the Sledge role, or the flex role, which is kind of what Sledge goes under. But he's a really versatile operator in his sort of utility and what he brings. So you can still kind of get away with it a little bit. Now, Sledge comes with 2 primary guns, the L85 assault rifle and the M59 shotgun. Both of them are great guns in their own right. For me, at least, the shotgun is probably one of the most consistent shotguns in the game, with its pretty high damage, and you can pretty easily one-pump down people at a minimum, depending on the range of course. However, generally people will tend to run the L85 over the shotgun in most cases because it's a more well-rounded and more consistent gun than the shotgun. Like, the shotgun's great at close to sort of close middle range, whereas the L85 can be devastating at any kind of range. It's probably one of my favourite guns to use in the game in general because it's got good damage, like 47 damage is pretty good. It's got a kind of slow fire rate, but it's got low recoil and like good damage, so it kind of balances out a bit, and it's a really fun gun to use. Generally 9 out of 10 times I'll choose to run the L85 over the shotgun, unless there's like a kind of specific strategy that I want to run with the shotgun that needs the shotgun. But for the most part, I will always run the L85. Now, Sledge also comes with one of the most hard-hitting pistols within the game. It does 50 damage a shot, and it's got a really fast fire rate. Like, some of the other high damage pistols have a slower fire rate. I think the only one that's kind of close, but it doesn't have the same damage as Capitau's pistol. Obviously it's not as good as the SMG11 that Sledge used to have, but it's still a really strong, powerful gun, and it's a really good like secondary to need to use if you need to use it for whatever reason. And generally for the pistol, I'll run the muzzle brake. I didn't actually talk about attachments, so on the L85 I will run the ACOG, the flash hider, the vertical grip, and the laser. And for the shotgun, I'll generally just run a no scope. It's been a while since I've used a shotgun, but for most shotguns, nearly every shotgun in the game, I'll run no scope, like at iron sights, and I'll run the laser for the ADS speed, because lasers don't affect hip fire spread anymore. It only just affects the ADS speed, and generally I'll try an ADS with a shotgun, so I'll use the laser so I can like quick scope kind of thing. Now, in terms of secondary gadgets, Sledge has 3. He has the frag grenades, the stun grenades, and the impact AMPs. For the most part, I will always run frag grenades on Sledge. The stun grenades are good if you have like an idea where you want to try and flash somebody out and push them, or if your stack's lacking some kind of burn, like burn means ADS denial, like Jaeger ADS denial. So if you want to like get rid of a shield that's being protected by Jaeger ADS, you might want to run stun grenades. If you know that the enemies are going to run that shield strategy. And also the impact AMPs are good if you don't have any on the team. However, generally, if you want to run impact AMPs, if you need impact AMPs for some reason, I will opt to run someone like Dogaby or someone else with impact AMPs over Sledge, because generally Sledge will be doing other things to the point where you might not be going to the main wall that needs breached. For example, if you're going to try and breach like bakery on kitchen, on cafe, you probably want to run Sledge upstairs to play vertical, which means you might not be able to get there to breach the wall with the impact AMPs. So playing the Sledge with frag grenades is kind of better for me, in my opinion. Now, the final piece of utility that I want to talk about is Sledge's primary gadget, which is the breaching hammer. Now, this is a sledgehammer which can breach 25 things, like break 25 walls, break 25 castle barricades if there was them. It can breach anything from soft walls to normal barricades to castle barricades to floors to if you can jump on top of something, it can sometimes hit roofs. Like, it can breach basically any kind of soft wall and make holes in it. I'll make rotation holes, like crouchable rotation holes, or standing up ones if you use 2 hammers. One thing that people tend to do is to not use up the hammer. Like it's kind of hard to use up the hammer, like use all 25 breaching like hammer hits. However, he's got 25 hits, you may as well use them for something. Like you may as well just make rotations around the map to make it easier, make rotation holes, sorry, just to make it easier to like rotate and do things faster. But that's gonna go into the next tip, which I'm going to talk about when I actually get into a game, again into the map. Alright, so I've just loaded into a coastline game on like a custom game, just to kind of like explain some more tips and give you some advice on how you can play vertically. So I'm just, for this example, I'm going to use the kitchen bomb site, and I'm going to go and try and play vertical in penthouse and VIP, which is what I would generally opt to do with Sledge. So the first thing that I want to talk about with Sledge is to make sure that you're being like unpredictable and like use the versatility of the sledgehammer to like create rotations around the map. So I'm just assuming this is all clear. Obviously, like in a game, you're drawing this out and make sure it's all good. But let's say I want to make vertical within VIP, so I start making vertical here above the like the rotate hole. I start making vertical just around like the different spots. Kill somebody behind that island. Make sure nobody's playing close on the kitchen window. But then I think, oh shit, I want to actually like start breaching into above like supply or beer. So rather than go and run around this whole rotation, which adds like maybe 1, 2, 3, like 4 or 5 seconds onto your time. Every time you have to run through that, it's an extra 4 or 5 seconds, when you can just sort of make a rotate hole here and just start doing the vertical like so much quicker and just start breaching of more floors. And then you can also like, you can use the hammers to like be more unpredictable with and unversatile with how you rotate around upstairs. Because if I'm a defender and I know that like generally if someone's going to rotate from VIP to penthouse, they're going to use this Hall of Fame, I can just pre-place a C4 there. However, if I now know that, like if I'm being Sledge and I'm being like big brain and unpredictable and I'm making rotates around here and around there, now they have to kind of like pick one. They can't really get, like they have to try and guess the right one if they don't have any info up here basically, which it just adds more safety to your playing. When you think about it, like changing this whole 5-second rotation for like just maybe 1 or 2 seconds rotation to get through these holes, you might not think that's actually like a big thing. However, when it gets down to like the dying seconds, those 5 seconds that you've saved, or like maybe 10, 15, if you're like rotating through this hallway a lot, can be the difference between winning or losing a round. How many times does it get down to like the last 5 seconds of a round and like you lose because of smoke canisters, which if you are like 5 seconds, 10 seconds faster, you might not have that. Like, it might not lose that because you have an extra 10 seconds to do your execute and to bait out smokes. Another thing that you need to remember as well is with Sledge, you have also the ACOG. So let's say you want to flank hold. Let's say I want to flank hold the top white. Why, like, would I just sit at 90? Like, I could just sit here with a drone in this corner and just wait for somebody to pick off the drone, which is a good play. However, it's also, like, a very common, like, thing to do. So why do that when you can sort of just be unpredictable and sort of make loads of, like, long angles? So like let's say I just open up this wall here. Now I can sit and hold the white stage flank from like all the way back here in penthouse. I can probably even hold it from like bathroom or something. I can't really hold there, but if I open up the wall there or open up the wall there, I will be able to hold the angle from Hall of Fame door. Now with an ACOG, that's such a winnable fight. Like I'll just show you just for an example's sake. With an ACOG, this is such a winnable fight for an attacker, whereas most defenders won't have an ACOG, so they'll have to try and fight that fight with a hollow or something. And it just creates easy freebies for you if anybody tries to flank up. You can also do the same towards like the cool vibes flank if you open up this wall there, or just hold through the door as well. That's another option. It just makes it safer to hold the flanks rather than just sitting at like predictable positions where it's more of a 50-50 gunfight. Now I want to quickly talk about how you can play vertically safer. I've already made some holes, so it's not going to be like as good as an example. Fucking hell. But generally, how I like to play Sledge to make vertical holes is to what I see a lot of people do is they'll go like this. I'll show an example behind like the reception desk downstairs. Let's say somebody playing behind the reception desk. If I want to make vertical, some people will just go like this. Oh shit. There's the vertical hole. Right now I'm picking it. I'm trying to find them. Now what's the downside to this? As a defender, all they can see is one vertical hole, and now all they have to do is look at that one vertical hole, and generally they'll see the attacker. And it takes some time from like the hammer coming out to your gun coming back up, where they can just find you and try and kill you. So what I like to do instead is to do it like this. I'll make one hole, then I'll go and make another hole, then I'll make another hole, and then I'll make another hole. Basically, just make loads of fucking holes, and then they have to guess which one you're going to actually peek from. And you can change it up, and you can peek from different holes and try and be more unpredictable. And it just makes it such a harder fight to win for a defender. And especially as well, it adds to the sort of confusion and the chaos factor of it. Let's say I'm hiding in bathroom as a defender trying to play safe. If I just go over here as a Sledge and just start making loads of different holes, and I'm not picking any of these holes yet, I'm just making them, and then boom, I go and pick him from the first hole. Like, he doesn't know which one to look at. They don't know what the hell to do. And you just get a freebie on them. Like, they'll either sit there until they get found out and die, or they'll try and leave and run away. If you have somebody holding the cutoff from, like, let's say you have someone on main door, if they run out the lobby, they're dead. If they run back to site, they're dead from the lobby guy. It's such, like, it creates such winnable situations and such winnable fights. Alright, so right now I'm going to show you one cool trick with frag grenades on Sledge. It doesn't have to be on Sledge, you can do this with anybody, but generally if you're running Sledge, I'll run nades, so it's a nice handy to know this trick. So what I'm going to show you right now is how to vertically grenade at this point in Siege, because as you might know, Siege like changed nades a little bit ago to the point where you can't cook them anymore, so I could just hold this and grenade forever and it will never explode, which also got rid of the ability to like vertically grenade somebody. So if you want to vertically grenade somebody, all you need to do at this point of Siege is to go below where they'll be sitting, which let's just say somebody behind the aqua bar, and then you need to make a hole in one of the layers of the floor, because as you might know, Siege has got 2 layers of every floor, like separated by like a metal beam across them. So if I make a layer in the bottom, if I make a hole in the bottom layer, all I need to do is throw a grenade within that hole, and you can line it up perfectly, and then just when it explodes, that'll grenade somebody that's sat above the hole. Like, it's such a freebie like strategy, and it still works. Like, they've got try to get rid of vertical grenades, but you can still do it if you use that trick. So yeah, it's just a handy trick to know if you want to play with somebody with grenades.